Have you ever wondered who the highest paid NFL players are? If so, stay tuned because here are each of the NFL team's highest player. Arizona Cardinals, Chandler Jones. As one of the best and most consistent defensive ends in the NFL, Chandler is well deserved of his money. Chandler held out for the 2020 season due to wanting a contract extension. Cardinals fans are excited to see what JJ Watt and Chandler can do as a duo. Chandler will be getting paid $20.8 million in 2021. Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan. Matty Ice, one of the best of the mediocre quarterbacks. Although Matt Ryan was a top 10 QB for most of his career, the Falcons have always seemed to underachieve. And ever since the 28-3 blown lead in Super Bowl 51, they haven't been the same. Matt Ryan will most likely play for a new team in the next 2 years. In 2021, Matt Ryan will make $26.9 million. Baltimore Ravens, Ronnie Stanley. It makes sense that the Ravens' highest paid player is a left tackle to guard Lamar Jackson. Ronnie Stanley has been a dominant tackle since he was drafted in 2016. Ronnie was selected to first-team All-Pro in 2019, just proving that he's worth the $15.2 million he'll be paid in 2021. Buffalo Bills, Dion Dawkins. The Buffalo Bills have had a huge growth as a team, and Dion Dawkins is a vital part of that growth. Dion helped protect Josh Allen throughout the 2020 season and helped the Bills make the AFC Championship game. In 2021, Dion Dawkins will be paid $11.3 million. Carolina Panthers, Taylor Moton. Taylor Moton is a solid right tackle in the NFL. He was franchise tagged by the Panthers during the 2021 offseason. If there's one person who's ecstatic about the tag, it's Christian McCaffrey. Taylor will be lead blocking McCaffrey on many of the running plays. In 2021, Taylor will be making $13.7 million. Chicago Bears, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson has been one of the top 10 wideouts in the NFL for the last couple years, but he's never been widely talked about until his franchise tag this offseason. Allen will be a great target for rookie QB Justin Fields. Allen Robinson will be making $17.98 million in 2021. Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Waynes. Trey Waynes was signed by the Bengals in 2020 free agency. Before the 2020 season, he was injured and missed the entire season. Trey's hoping to be the replacement of William Jackson, who just left the Bengals in free agency. Trey will be making $15.8 million in 2021. Cleveland Browns, Odell Beckham Jr. Although Odell in Cleveland has been somewhat of a disappointment, he earned a contract extension in 2019 worth $90 million. The Browns reached the division round without Odell. OBJ will be making $15.7 million in 2021. Dallas Cowboys, DeMarcus Lawrence. Although Dak Prescott signed a huge deal during free agency, DeMarcus Lawrence will be making the most money in 2021. DeMarcus has been underperforming for the last couple of years, but with another big check in his mailbox, he might turn up the heat. With the Cowboys' historically worst defense last year, DeMarcus might be in a hot seat if he doesn't make a big impact in 2021. DeMarcus Lawrence will be making $25 million in 2021. Denver Broncos, Von Miller. Von Miller suffered a serious injury last year before the season even started, causing him to miss the entire season. With him only getting older, the Broncos might cut ties with him after the 2021 season. But if Von puts up double-digit sacks like most of his career, Von Miller will be making $22.2 million in 2021. Detroit Lions, Trey Flowers. The Lions are hoping Trey Flowers can be one of the great pass rushers in the next 5 to 10 years. But like most careers, his might just die in Detroit. But he will be making $67 million in the next 3 years. In 2020 alone, Trey Flowers will be making $19.9 million. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been one of the best quarterbacks since he first stepped on the field in 2008. In fact, he just won the league MVP in 2020, throwing 48 touchdowns. But unfortunately for Packers fans, Aaron isn't on the best of terms with the Packers organization. It's still unknown if Aaron will play for the Packers in 2021, but if he does, he'll be making $37.2 million. Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson. When the extension Deshaun signed last year kicks in 2022, he'll be making $40 million. but it's unknown if he'll be playing for the Texans because he's upset with their decision to hire David Culley as head coach. Deshaun has requested a trade, but the Texans are firm in saying they won't trade him. If Deshaun plays in 2021, he'll be making $15.9 million. Indianapolis Colts, Carson Wentz. After having his worst year in 2020 with the Eagles, Carson is trying to start over with the Colts. With the Colts making a playoff appearance last year with Philip Rivers at QB, they're hoping Carson can bring them much further. In 2021, Carson will be making $20.4 million. Jacksonville Jaguars, Andrew Norwell. Andrew Norwell is ranked as one of the best guards in football. He isn't the only offensive lineman on his team to be named so. In fact, 2 other O-linemen were named elite in the Pro Football Focus lineman rankings. The Jaguars have been preparing themselves for Trevor Lawrence. In 2021, the Jags will pay Andrew Norwell $15 million. Kansas City Chiefs, Frank Clark. This one might come as a surprise to a lot because of Patrick Mahomes' historic deal. But really, Patrick is still on his rookie deal, and next year his extension will kick in. The Frank Clark signing has been a roller coaster for Kansas City. One year he gets 8 sacks, then 13, then back down to 3. But Frank has been a help in the playoffs, but he is sucking up a lot of cap space. In 2020, Frank will cash in $25.8 million. Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr. Yes, it's 2021, and Derek Carr is still the highest paid player on the Raiders. Derek will most likely finish out the rest of his huge contract and become a journeyman, but John Gruden will still think Derek is a top QB in the league the whole time. Derek Carr will make $22.1 million in 2021. Los Angeles Chargers, Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa is one of the most underrated pass rushers in the NFL. When healthy, he's consistently been putting up numbers and helping the Chargers defense. With the great talent at QB, Joey and the Chargers are looking forward to going places in the future. In 2021, Joey will be making $20.7 million. Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford. After finally getting out of Detroit, Matthew is pleased to be in LA and has been training harder than ever to bring the Rams back to the Super Bowl. With his stacked Rams team, that is the one and only goal, to get a big diamond ring. The Rams will be paying Matthew Stafford $20 million in 2021. Miami Dolphins, Byron Jones. After having a good start of his career in Dallas, Byron has come to Miami to do some winning. In 2019, Byron set his career high in interceptions. With the team getting more experience, the Dolphins have big potential in the future. Byron will make $16.1 million in 2021. Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins. With the Vikings drafting a QB in the middle of the 2021 draft, Kirk knows his time in Minnesota might be over if he doesn't lead the Vikings to another playoff win. While the Vikings have the talent to get to the playoffs and succeed, they've been underachieving for a bit. Kirk Cousins is hoping to change that while being paid $31 million in 2021. New England Patriots, Stephon Gilmore. After coming off one of the best cornerback seasons of all time, Stephon Gilmore was hurt and played on a bad Patriots team. Stephon is one of the best corners in the game, feared by many quarterbacks. He won a Defensive Player of the Year award, earning every dollar of the $16.2 million he'll earn in 2021. New Orleans Saints, Ryan Ramczyk. It shouldn't be a surprise that the Saints' highest paid player is a tackle, because their old quarterback, Drew Brees, needed protection being 42 years old. Now that Brees retired, Ryan will be protecting Jameis Winston and making $11.1 million in doing so. The New York Giants, James Bradberry. The Giants have an up-and-coming defense, and James Bradberry is a key part of it. James has just come out of his best year in 2020 and is not planning on stopping. James will make $13.2 million in 2021. New York Jets, Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson is an interesting player because he hasn't accomplished much to be paid how much the Jets are paying him. His best season was his rookie year in 2017 with the Bengals, where he recorded 8.5 sacks, but he hasn't been healthy for about half of his seasons. The Jets will pay Carl Lawson $14.3 million in 2021. Philadelphia Eagles, Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox was a great player in his prime. Unfortunately for the Eagles, his prime was 3 years ago. While he's still a good pass rusher in the NFL, Fletcher Cox is overpaid and is locked into the next 2 years. In 2021, Fletcher Cox will be paid $23.8 million. Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger has been one of the best QBs of the past 10 years, but the key word in that sentence is been. Roethlisberger has steadily been getting worse for the past 3 years, and at this point, the only reason the Steelers re-signed him was because their only other choice was Dwayne Haskins. This will undoubtedly be Ben's last year with the Steelers and probably in the NFL. Ben Roethlisberger will be getting paid $25.9 million in 2021. San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a known fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is overpaid. Ever since he went to the Super Bowl, the 49ers have thrown money at him like he's the next Joe Montana. While the 49ers drafted a QB with a 3rd overall pick in 2021, Jimmy will probably be out the door soon and will most likely end up as a journeyman. Jimmy Garoppolo will make $26.3 million in 2021. Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is one of the best deep passers in the NFL and one of the best overall quarterbacks. Although he was upset with the Seahawks after the 2020 season, Russell is planning on staying in Seattle for the rest of his career. Russell will be making $32 million in 2021. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mike Evans. Mike Evans quietly became one of the best wideouts in the NFL. In fact, Mike hasn't had a season with under 1,000 receiving yards in his career. Mike was a key part of the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl. In 2021, Mike Evans will make $16.6 million. Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill. If you Googled a career reborn, a picture of Ryan Tannehill would come up. Ryan Tannehill went from being a draft bust to one of the highest paid quarterbacks. Tannehill gave the Titans the extra boost that they needed, getting them to the AFC Championship game in 2019 and to a playoff game in 2020. Ryan Tannehill will make $29.5 million in 2021. Washington Football Team. Brandon Scherff. Brandon Scherff has been one of the best guards in football over the last few years, earning a first-team All-Pro and becoming the highest-paid player on the Washington Football Team. With an older quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick, the football team will need a solid O-line, and Scherff is an essential part in that. Scherff will make $18 million in 2021. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.